Blair finds a spell book in an antique bookstore where a magical ritual catches her attention. A magical ritual called Finding the Other You in the World. Blair takes the book home and begins to study it closely. Drawn by curiosity, she activates the spell. She saw a light spread before her eyes, expanding and growing brighter and brighter, blinding her, causing her to close her eyes. But in the next second, her body floated. She wasn't sure if her soul was out of her body or if her body and soul flew into the air together. She felt one of her eyes turn into the moon and the sun. Her hair turned into trees, flowers, and her body merged with mountains and rivers respectively. In that moment, Blair wasn't sure what she had become. After an unknown amount of time, Blair slowly opened her eyes as she was hit by the sunlight. She found herself in a completely different country. Buildings she had never seen before, dress codes she had never seen before on the pedestrians passing by. She wandered the streets and alleys without purpose. She looked at the newspaper on the newsstands and woke up the fact that this is a country that was invaded and occupied by her own country in the future. And that the land she stood on at this very moment was in a country that did not exist in her time and place. Blair saw a boy who was standing under the sun. The sun was shining just right on his brown hair, shining like gold, as well as his smile and enthusiasm that had Blair smitten. They shared the same ideas, the same love of books, the same taste in music, the same love of a certain kind of food. They found love without a second thought, the boy writing her songs and Blair writing his poems. They would go to jazz bar at the end of a busy day and listen to random jazz bands, walking down the street hand in hand, wandering around aimlessly, talking. Eventually, the guns of war were fired. The boy was forced to go to war, as the constant failures of the army had to force more of the people to join the army. The boy was never heard from again. The only thing he left behind was a farewell letter to Blair. Blair understood deeply that this time and space had not belonged to her, that nothing belonged to her in this time and space. It was as if she could never have this boy because he was not meant to be hers. But Blair had at least briefly had this thing that wasn't supposed to belong to her. Blair activated the spell to return to her own time and space. Once again, she felt the massive beam of light wavering before her eyes as her body became one with the universe. But what was different this time was that she was in the future. She sat in the seat of the former tyrant ruler, whom everyone called leader. That's right, she became the new ruler and freed the captive slaves of the defeated country. Blair slowly opened her eyes and saw her future success as she traveled back to her present time. She was on her way to that successful future From now on,